So look, like Jamal Adams though, talk to us about because I feel like I think we should definitely go after him. I think there's no reason for us not to. I think he'd be the youngest in the secondary. Um, and Sherman is coming in, but he's on his way out. We have to find a replacement for him. But I think if we're going to stay dominant and have a scheme of guys in the back end, even though we were number one against the pass in the league,
yep.
that's because of our defensive line, and
No
they're
question.
not going to always reach home. So we got to have some guys who can actually cover. So what do you think about this Jamal Adams situation and about us bringing him in?
Let me tell you the evolution of my feelings about the Jamal Adams thing. So initially, he requested his trade and listed the 7 teams, and the Niners were one of them. I wrote an article a half hour later saying, yeah, that's cool, but it probably isn't realistic. The Niners are down on picks. They don't have much to trade. Probably not. An hour later, I get a call from someone who used to be a coach of the NFL saying, dude, what are you talking about? This is a no-brainer. He's a great player. He's 24. Every single team he listed that he'd be willing to go to is going to be interested in him. It's a no-brainer. He's a great player. He's available. He's 24. Great 24-year-old players aren't available very often. All these teams are going to be interested. So I said, okay, thanks for explaining to me how the NFL works. Then a couple weeks later, I get a DM from someone telling me they hear Jamal Adams to the 49ers picking up steam. So I'm like, okay, now I initially heard it's logical. Now I've heard that it's happening or beginning to happen.
Yeah.
And then a couple weeks after that, the guy who runs the Sports Illustrated site in Seattle, Corbin Smith, hears the same thing from different sources. So yeah, of course the Niners are interested. Of course the Seahawks are interested. Of course the Cowboys are. They'd be crazy not to be interested. If you have any cap space, you have to call the Jets and find out what they want and figure out if you have anything that interests them. The problem is the Jets don't want to trade him. He's their best player. Of course they don't want to trade him. But just like with the Dolphins and Minkah Fitzpatrick last year, the Jets ultimately won't have a choice. He's forcing his way off the team. They can get something for him or nothing for him. So I think this is going to drag on a little long. The Jets are probably asking for a first and a second, probably. They're not going to get a first and a second.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, they're not going to get a first and a second. I mean, the Dolphins didn't get a first and a second for Minkah. So I think teams are calling and hearing like, yeah, okay, well, that's what you want now, but let's revisit this in a month. Let's revisit this in 2 months. And I think when the Jets finally get desperate enough to strike a deal, the Niners will be right there. And they need to be, because if the Seahawks get Jamal Adams instead, now the Niners have a big problem.
A real big problem.
Issue.
I think Jamal Adams fits too. I think his talent. I think it did fit. I think he just a Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch person. I think he'll fit right in.
Yeah.
He'll give us a quarterback at least a look off. I mean, like can we not throw it that way? Because they're not afraid of anybody but Sherman.
You know who Adams reminds me of? Troy Polamalu.
Oh,
Troy Polamalu you never knew where he was before the snap. He could be on the line. He could be blitzing. He could look like he's blitzing and then drop back. That's Adams, dude. He's the one guy on your defense where the quarterback's like, where is he? Where is he? Derwin James is a little bit like that, but that kind of strong safety fits every defense.